If the grid goes down, the next thing that goes down is the grocery store. And let's face it, the majority of people nowadays depend on the grocery store, mainly because the majority of people nowadays live within the cities. Now, it's undeniable that the largest populations of people are within the cities. And that, to me, is something that you need to consider. Take, for example, if the grocery store is not there and you want to buy a chicken or you want to eat a chicken, what are you going to do? The only thing that you can do is raise a chicken or barter for that chicken. So with the grid down and no more grocery stores, what are your plans? You need to have a plan because the food that you have stored away is going to run out. The meat that you have canned is going to run out. The grains that you have is going to run out. If you don't know how to garden, well, how are you going to replenish those vegetables? So let's talk about those things. First of all, I'm going to tell you that I spent 16 years in Cuba. And in those years, you do get a quota from the government. That's just to keep you alive. That's it. Everything else, you have to grow your own food. You have to raise your animals. Cows are not legal to harvest in Cuba. In fact, you get almost 20 years if you dispatch a cow. You can own it and get the milk and all of that good stuff, but you cannot harvest a cow. That's just to begin with. So large animals are a big no-no in Cuba. Now, let's discuss growing food. Growing food is something that a lot of people want to do, but a lot of people don't have a green thumb. In fact, a lot of people either overwater their plants, underwater their plants, over-fertilize their plants, don't fertilize their plants. They burn their plants because the place that they live, they get so much sunshine that the plants get burned. That happens. Or some areas, you don't get enough sunshine. I live in Alaska, so I don't get a lot of sunshine throughout some months. Now, in other months, I get 24/7 daylight, which it helps quite a bit. But I have to water regularly my plants. So you have to take a lot of things into consideration. But growing your own food is essential. Whether you grow your food in a greenhouse, on the ground, on raised bed, hydroponics, aquaponics, towers, that is completely up to you. You need to find what is suitable for you. But what you need to do is begin growing. There are things that you can do if you live in an apartment to get some food. For example, you can get aeroponics, which is essentially a container with some lights on top, and then you put your little pots in there and they grow without soil. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you want to do an aquaponic in a small scale, you can do it in an apartment. Aquaponics is nothing more than fish, and then you have your plants on top, and then you have lights, and it is a cycle. Look it up, aquaponics. I think it's very beneficial because not only you get the vegetables, but you also get to harvest fish. Keep that in mind. Those are ways to grow food. Now, again, one of the things that a lot of folks struggle with when it comes to growing food is real estate. You need a bit of land to grow food. Now, I have seen many people that grow a lot of food in an acreage, in a quarter of acreage. That can be done. You have to become very creative. But if you're going to go down the traditional way on the ground, well, you need some land. And not all lands were created equal. Keep that in mind. You have to test your soil. Not all soils are the same, so keep that in mind. Now, in the meantime, that your garden becomes whole, that you are becoming a certified grower, well, you need to have some food put away. And unfortunately, the majority of people only have about 3 days worth of food in their homes. Now, you are preparing. you probably have a lot more. At a very minimum, and a grid down where the stores are no longer open, you need at least a year worth of food. A year, so they can get you to that harvest. My problem is with that, if that harvest goes bad, then what? Then what? Well, that's where your hunting skills, your fishing skills, and your foraging skills come in place. Do you know how to hunt? Do you know how to forage for edibles? Do you know how to fish? 3 key elements that a lot of people love to do and many do not know. You know how to butcher an animal, and do you know how to conserve that meat? There are different ways to preserve meat. A lot of ways. You can salt the meat, you can smoke meat, you can can meat, you can dehydrate meat, you can freeze dry meat. A lot of ways. You have to do what is right for you. Let's say, for example, that I live in a desert. I will probably dry my food or salt my food. That's probably my preferred method. I live in Alaska, so you guys should guess what I would do with my meat. 6 months out of the year, I will leave it outside. I have a natural refrigerator. Yeah. I will smoke my meat so it will last throughout the summer months. You have to learn how to do those things. Because guess what? If you don't preserve the meat, there is no point of you killing the animal. Because you're going to be wasting all of that meat. Now, there is something too. Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. Some of you may be really good raising animals. And some of you may be really bad raising animals. Let's face it, raising animals take a lot of time and special people to raise animals. Animals depend 100% on you. 100%. So let's say that you have a goat that is pregnant. Well, the delivery time may become a little iffy. So you may have to get your hands dirty and help. Same thing with large animals, cows. God almighty. People think that that is the most pretty thing ever. The birth is the most pretty thing ever. It is not. It is not the most pretty thing ever. It is disgusting. You will get dirty, and the smell, well, let's just say it is particular. Let's just put it like that. So keep that in mind. It is not as easy as people make it to see. You clicking on homesteader channels and they show you, oh, look at my goats, look at my chickens, look at my piglets, and look at my cows. But they don't talk about the shit. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Now, some of you may be really good cultivating, but you don't care about raising animals. So here comes a key element of a grit down. You need to learn how to barter. You need to know who is doing what and how they're doing it. And you need to create that community. Yes, that community that nowadays is non-existing. It is not existing because why do you need it? You can go to the grocery store and get everything you need without talking to your neighbor. In fact, I was actually talking to my neighbor 2 days ago, and my neighbor raises bees, and I gave him a whole bunch of quail eggs, and he immediately, oh, let me go bring you some honey. And I said, no, I still have from the last time that you gave me. It's a give and take. You see what I mean? Not a lot of people do that anymore. Not a lot of people do it. And that is something that people will have to get accustomed to and learn how to do it. Work in a community. Nobody's perfect. And I think I have said this in several videos, and I have actually said it, verbally to folks that I know. Nobody's perfect in this world. We all have our things, so we're not perfect. But we got to take the good and the bad. We got to take the good and the bad and see the positive on everybody. Because if all you do is focus on the negative, well, here we are. That's why we are here. That's why people don't talk to each other nowadays. That's why people just rather go to the market and don't talk to anybody. That's why you see now online orders more than people going to the stores. Because people just don't care about their neighbors. So, integrate down. Without no more grocery stores, I guarantee you a few things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to learn how to grow your own food. Number two, you will try to raise animals as best as you can. You will treat them like your life depends on it, because it will depend on it. You will learn how to preserve food, whether you like it or not, because otherwise you will go hungry. You will learn how to trade or how to barter with others. And most importantly, you will learn to accept everybody for who they are, and you will learn how to be in a community, whether you like it or not. Because if you don't, guess what? Well, you will not make it. It's plain and simple as it goes. So, when the grid down and there's no more grocery stores, well, maybe we will see the return of communities and people being more self-reliant. With that being said, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like always, rock on, rip on, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.